Welcome to Create a Flow Live. I'm Elisha Jacobs. And last week we saw Apple unveil the new iPad OS 26. And I have been testing it out for the past week through the developer beta. And they've finally brought features we've been asking for, like real windowing, smarter multitasking, as well as AI enhanced workflows thanks to Apple Intelligence. So, if you've ever wondered or if you wanted your iPad to feel more like your Mac, if you've been using or you've been working within the Mac OS system, you want your iPad to have that feeling of like you're using a Mac without losing the touch screen magic. This update is definitely giving all of that. And this is your first look into what the iPad OS 26 actually looks like, how it actually flows. And remember, this is only a beta version for the developers. By the time the official release comes in the fall, there will be more improvements as that will take place. They're gathering feedback from app developers. And then when they release the public beta, that is going to be where the actual UI will be put to the test with actual end users giving their feedback and what needs to change and all the things. And so basically, right now, app developers are working on how they can refine their apps to adapt to this new UI or user interface, the design, the functionality, and all the things. So, tonight I'm going to be giving you a first preview look. Again, I have been working with iPadOS 26 for the past week on my iPad as well as my the Mac OS version as well as the iOS. So starting from this week and for the next 2 weeks, I'm definitely going to be giving you a preview of what that actually looks like and some of the things that I excited to see they improve on and they develop on and how it's going to help with users from the different devices from a productivity standpoint and all the things. All right. So if you have any questions along the walkthrough as it relates to productivity, turning your iPad into your productivity assistant or co-pilot, or even if you're excited to get the iPad OS 26 when it releases officially, then please make sure to put your questions in the chat and all the things. All right, welcome to my Substack community as well as my YouTube community. I was just double checking to see if Substack is in the building. But yeah. So welcome. We are going to get right in. The first thing that apart from the new user interface or the new UI, the first thing I really wanted to test out when I got the iPad OS is the actual windowing system. The windowing system or the windowing is actually the star of the show. And I'm so happy that they brought it to iPad OS. It gives you the ability now to actually open apps in overlapping windows. You can drag from the edge, you can resize, you can even minimize, and they also give you some new dock style trays and other features that literally turns your iPad into a real productivity machine. And so let's go into our preview to see what this actually looks like. All right, so I'm going to switch over and notice this glass feeling is there. But one of the things that really captured my attention, I'm going to just come out of this mode, right? So one of the things that really captured my attention with the notifications, notice you have that transparent or that translucent feel. And with if you're using your pencil, if you just highlight over the notifications, it's literally going to give you like a glow to it. So that was pretty cool. And that is something that these are the little features and little animations that actually come into the iPad. Also, with this new UI, it does also give you like every time you point to an app, Notice it's giving a little animation as well. So it's like literally taking that app icon and it's literally lifting it off of the background or the home screen. Now, this is just beta version, so I want to see how best they're going to actually refine this. Um Also, when it comes to the actual UI, if I go into customize, I can choose because I like my dark mode. It does give you the clear options. If you go to clear, it's gonna give you this totally clear look. Now, not everybody may, not everybody's gonna be happy with this, but it does give you the option to tint it, and you can also put it in dark. For me, right now, I'm just gonna leave it in dark, and of course, this might be a little too much or too overwhelming for some of the users. So I'm interested to see, based on when the public beta actually comes out and they get feedback from end users, how they're going to actually refine this. So it feels a little more alive. And again, the app developers will definitely need to upgrade their logos to match this um translucent feel. So I'm going to put it back into dark mode. So the first thing is the windowing. I'm excited for it. And so I'm going to open multiple apps. Right. I'm going to open multiple apps. And notice once I swipe up, it puts it in the corner right. So let me just scoot over here. All right. So notice it puts it in the corner right. So I'm going to open that. I am going to open files because these are some of the things. So notice as I'm opening, it's literally showing the different, and they either put it on left or the right. I can have like multiple things open at the same time. So I want to open 3 other apps. So I may go with freeform. Right. So here is where I have 3 apps, and this is actually the windowing system. Before, yes, you could have achieved this with Stage Manager, but the good thing I like about the windowing system is that it's using AI. I'm going to share with you with that a little bit later on. But if I go into settings and I go into multitasking and gestures, before in iPad OS 18, it was the regular screen. You either turn off the multitasking and gestures, you had split view, and then you had the stage manager. Now, the stage manager is still coming back in 26, but also the windowed apps is also going to be active there. Now, one of the things I want you to notice is that when you every time you open an app, to the bottom right there's a little white curve to the bottom of that window that actually allows you to size the apps. So if I tap and drag, it actually gives me the ability to size and tap, and it's going to be adaptive. So I can have it like this. I can either have my stuff full screen, or I can also use Stage Manager. I can also have the option to show or hide the dock. So the dock that usually appears to the bottom center, it's going to actually appear there if I don't want it to show and hide. But I like it to be turned off because sometimes it can be a bit too cumbersome on the screen. All right. And so this is one of the ways in which, so they've completely gone away with split view and what do you call it, app layover, but you can actually use it, and I'm going to show you how you can get access to it. So I can switch between my various apps. I can layer them. Right? If I want, I can actually layer them. And so I can just simply switch between apps. And this is great for people who need to be focused. If you are just in your planning mode, or you need to plan, or you just need that distraction free where you don't want to see too many apps, you can either work with your one app and you could do multiple things at the same time. So you can be researching on one end, you can have notes on the other end, and you can also have a timer that you can keep track of your time to get certain tasks done. And I think this is pretty cool, especially for those who are trying to level up their productivity as well as they're using their iPad as their productivity machine. Now, when it comes to the windowing system, one of the things I really love that Apple actually did was they integrate a lot of the Apple Intelligence into the UI or into the new operating systems. Now, I know a lot of people with Apple Intelligence, when it was first released, they weren't too happy with it. And I did a full breakdown on my last newsletter this past week on Apple's approach to AI. And so, with Apple Intelligence really baked into iPad OS 26, they have improved not only multitasking, but also with your app switching. So, what I have been noticing for the past week is that multitasking is becoming a smoother experience. And if I close off an app, whatever is the state of that app, when I reopen it, it's going to open back the same way. So let me give you an example. If I close off Safari in this size and on this page, if I tap the X and I go back into Safari, it's going to open back on that same size. So those are the little things that enhances workflows, enhances experiences with the touch of Apple Intelligence. All right. Also, with the smoother workflows and all the things, they also give you the option to, oh, I have to switch. So I use my iPad Pro, and I also have the Magic Keyboard. So with the Magic Keyboard now, you have with the trackpad, there is an actual mouse pointer. If you've been using iPad and you're in the iOS 18 and you have the Magic Keyboard, anytime you use the trackpad, instead of this little mouse pointer, it was a dot. So they've completely changed that, and now we have this little mouse pointer here, and I'm very happy because that dot used to get me on my nerves, right? So I'm very happy for that dot. Also, with the windowing, if you use your mouse pointer and you just point to the top here, notice a menu actually appears. So based on the app that you're working in, it's going to give you a full menuing system. We have been asking for these little things, and Apple has definitely listened. And I'm very, very happy to see this. And so you can go through your different menuing system again, depending on your app that you're working with. Also, some people may like their split view, and the option is there, but it's not in the settings like I showed you earlier. That would have appeared in in OS 18. So if you want to split between the view between two apps or three apps, or maybe you have four apps and you want it to be appearing in small areas of your window, basically, what you do with your mouse pointer, or if you're using your Apple Pencil, you can simply long press or tap and hold, and notice it gives you the move and resize. So these are the different options. If you're not sure what sizing, you can use those move and resize options. And also you have fill and arrange. So you have your full, you have the half screen. You can split it in three or you can do it in four. Because I believe I have four, I'm going to choose four. And basically, this is how it's going to actually lay it out on the screen, right? This is really, really good. And again, the windowing system is the little things that actually makes the difference. Again, if you do not want it, you can simply tap and hold again. If I were to do three, it's going to choose three of it. All right. And if I do person hold, if I do two, all right, so it's going to do two of it. So you still have that split screen for maybe you just want that direct focus. Maybe you're working in Notion and you're doing your research, or you're working in Notion and your calendar and you just want those two screens. You don't want that um extra distraction with other apps open. You can actually have it appearing here. And if you need to just come out of it again, just tap and hold, and maybe you can go back into full and you can resize back as normal. All right. So that is more or less like the smoother workflows with the app switching, as well as the windowing system inside of iPad OS 16. Now, I'm very happy that they have done this because a lot of people are more and more people are using their iPads, especially on the go. We know that the MacBook does not have the touch capability, and that's the only thing that's missing. But with the iPad bringing these little additional features integrated with AI is going to be super helpful for those who use their iPads a lot, especially when they're on the go. And users have been calling for this. Also, with the smarter windowing system, you also have the option to have your, let me show you. I'm getting into file management and all the things just now. But when you go to the top here, if you notice as I'm pointing where the battery and so is, notice there is a little highlight. So that's more or less the translucent feature that they're highlighting here. If I tap on it, it actually opens your control center. There is a little more power with the control center. I have customized my own control center just for two options. So for two options, I just want to have the main things that I want to use. And then if I scroll down, I'm using just the whether it's airplane mode, my access to my Wi-Fi and so forth. So in here, notice you have that translucent or the glass look feel as they would say, and you can customize this to look and feel. They've added more controls, so you can literally add more layouts on your control panel, and you can add the things that you want to have access to very quickly. And so they have literally put in, so it's those little things that I'm happy. I've redesigned my entire one, so by default, yours might look a bit different if you are on your iPad going through, but you can, if you want to create a new one, you can simply press this little circle and you can simply go into add control and you can start adding your different controls that you want to have access to if you were to swipe down from the top right of your screen, right? Ooh, let me go back. Okay, it's telling me I'm live. All right. All right, so let me close this off for now. All right, so that is more or less like the smart windowing features. I'm able to have a window open at a specific size. If I close it off, I'm able to go back and it will be just the way I closed it off, and that is more or less creating seamless flows that I don't have to spend time resizing a window again. All right. Especially if it's something that I'm constantly doing or I'm using over and over again. Now, when it comes to Apple Intelligence, like I said, I think even last week, I said that Apple Intelligence has, I think now users will see the true purpose and the true intention of Apple Intelligence, in that it was designed to be your productivity co-pilot within the Apple ecosystem. So with smart actions coupled with the Apple Intelligence, it's actually making your device a productivity co-pilot and it's simplifying your workflows. So one of the biggest upgrades across all the Apple devices is having that on-device intelligence, which is actually powered by Apple Intelligence. So it's not just for your Mac OS, it's baked into iPad OS, and it allows you to do different things, whether it's to generate summaries, whether it's smarter automations. And as time go on for the launch that they're going to do in the fall to release it to every user, they're going to add on additional stuff, especially with the feedback from users and developers and so forth. So basically, Apple Intelligence is getting more of an upgrade because it's following this, what is called a context aware AI, where it's literally going to take whatever you have on your device as well, and it's going to help you to either summarize something, and it keeps it on the device. The good thing about the on device AI and using it, it is in full partnership with Apple's commitment to privacy and security for their users. I do not believe a lot of users know when you're using AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude. Once it's a cloud-based AI, a lot of your information is exposed, and that is the technical side that a lot of the end users don't know. Yes, we're happy to use AI models, but once it's in the cloud, this is where it can get tricky with your privacy. So their answer to privacy is having on device AI. So, a lot of the functions that you can perform with Apple Intelligence is they do give you that cloud option, which is also private through the iCloud, but also it's on device. A lot of the functions that you would see with Apple Intelligence is on device. And so let me show you an example of some of that. Um, I'm still testing out a lot of the automations because I'm doing a series on how you can automate on your different devices. And so I recently, with this new update this week, I wanted to see how is it this actual they talked about a smarter shortcuts for automations with your different devices, and I'm testing it out on the various devices using the actual AI model. So let me give you an example. I'm going to do a full deep dive and breakdown later on in the channel. So basically what I want to do, I want to have the ability that when I put in certain transcripts from my podcast in a specific folder in my iCloud drive, I want Apple Intelligence to summarize it and actually create that summary inside of my notes app in a specific folder. Now, before it was a lot of steps to get this, but with Apple Intelligence now it's a little more easier. If you notice, I just have 3 steps. So it's gonna get the contents of my podcast transcript from a specific folder. I've specified which folder. It's gonna actually summarize, and I can choose to say if I want it to be summarized or get the key points from that transcript. And then it's going to actually take that summarize or those key points, and it's going to create a note inside of my notes app in a specific folder. So if I'm to actually run this, it's going to give it some time, and it's going to actually open up that transcript. So this is the entire transcript. Give me one. Right? So this is the transcript here, the entire transcript. They brought it over and they've literally summarized it for me. All right? Surprise, surprise. All right, so here is where the transcript is actually at the bottom. So they copy the entire transcript from the original file, and then they put the summary at the bottom of the file. Now, this is very helpful, especially for those of us who use our devices to help us with content and all the things. This is very, very helpful. And I'm diving deeper and deeper into automations within the Apple ecosystem because it's very vast, and so there's so many different things that you can actually do with your devices that a lot of everyday users don't do it, especially if you're a creative or you're an entrepreneur. This is going to be very helpful. So that actual file is a file that I have on my iCloud, which is called podcast transcripts. So anything that I put in here, so I have this example here. This is the actual transcript that they copied from the cloud, and they actually put it into my notes. And this is the power of Apple Intelligence. There's so many other things that you could do. You can tell it to turn on a certain focus mode. You can tell it to, especially for Mac OS, what I've seen so far with the automations, it is a game changer, especially for those who are people like me who love systems, love automations, and love these seamless workflows. This is going to be super, super um, game changer for uh, users. Right now, one of the things that I'm very happy that they did too is with the file management. We have been asking for them to fix the file app for a very, very long time. And I think it might not be where we want it to be, but thankfully, we have the ability to change colors of the folders and all the things. So there's actually a new folder structure, and I'm going to do a deep dive into this where you can actually create folder structures. And with Apple Intelligence, it would actually follow that folder structure if it's something that you're recurringly doing every time. All right. And again, this comes through the automation. So basically, they have refined this, the Files app, and now you have better file management. And as a creative and an entrepreneur, file management is very, very critical to our everyday flow. And so I'm happy for it. Let me close this out. I'm happy for it. In that, I think I closed it. Yeah. In that now it does give you the ability to actually color your folders, and within that you're able to have a tagging system which makes it easier for you to um find your files and your folders. So I'm gonna just bring this up further. Right, full screen. All right, so if you notice my very first folder there, I've been playing around with it, but if you want to do it on your iPad, on the Mac, the steps are a little more fluid, but on the iPad, there is just a little different way in which you get it. So let's say, for example, for the podcast transcripts folder, if I want to put it in my tag called content, and I want it to have a specific color or folder color, I can simply tap and hold down, and then I can come down to customize folder and tags. And then I choose content as the tag. All right. Notice the color changes. And I can also put in uh a emoji, and that's basically it. All right. So if you want like certain tags have different colors, if you're that type of organizer who likes to have a certain color scheme for specific folders, you can go ahead and do so. Or you can totally go down the aesthetic route and have different colors for different things. All right. But that's one way in which I'm very happy with the filing app, that they do give you the ability to actually color your folders, the workflow between iCloud as well as that on device and all of that. They're going to improve on that over time from what I have seen. But I'm very happy for that particular feature. I think a lot of persons wanted that. Also, if you want to put a folder on your dock, you can do so as well, where you can simply tap and drag, especially if it's something that you use very frequently. Right? Because I hide my dock. Let me bring it up. All right, show my dock. Show. Okay, bring you back up. All right. So you can actually put it on your dock now, and the um same thing goes for your Mac OS as well, which I'm going to show later on too. You can actually pin it to your dock as well. Now, the other thing is that they have added the preview app onto the iPad as well, which we are thankful for because again, users have been asking for this. So this is what the preview app actually looks like. If you are a person that uses your iPad to maybe edit a lot of photos, or you just want to have a preview of what a PDF document looks like or a photo document actually looks like, you can just simply click and it's going to open that specific file or picture for you. Right, so this is the preview app. They also added the journal app. Thankfully, they've added the journal app to the iPad, and this is a great start for people who want to do journaling and all the things. Uh, this is a great feature to have. It was only available on the iPhone, but now it's available on the iPad. So these are some of the little things that they would have added. They've also in they have also improved on the Apple Pencil, especially if you have the Apple Pencil Pro. A lot of the handwriting enhancements will definitely be shown on the Apple Pencil Pro. So there is going to be, like I showed you earlier, that hover over. Once you use your pencil and you hover over specific elements, it's going to animate. And you also have the handwriting to text engine that is also being powered by AI. So if you're writing inside of Apple Notes, let me pull up a new one. Ooh, Gotta put this flat so I can write. Right. So, mm, all right. So a lot of people, if you're very concerned with digital planning and you're afraid that, oh, I don't have a good handwriting for when I'm using my iPad, don't worry. There is something called auto refining, and again it becomes a little more intuitive and is becoming a little more smarter with the AI power. So if I just write hello in the worst way, it's going to literally refine that. All right, if you notice, it's refining it. All right. So if you're ready to start out with digital planning and you don't really know how to write legibly with your Apple Pencil, you have your AI assistant who's going to actually help you to refine your handwriting. So you could be writing rough notes and it's going to actually clean up your text instantly. So do not worry about that. There are other features where you can and gestures on the pencil that you can also they also upgraded and all the things, right? So we go out there. So those are some of the key things that I have noticed. Again, I've been only using it for a week, and so far so good. Being a beta version, it is a bit clunky. There, it's a bit slow with with certain apps responding. But again, this is just a beta version. By time the fall, they're going to fix all the little things that they need to fix, and different app developers definitely need to become adaptive to this new UI. Now, there are a few other things that I've seen with the iPad because I have it connected to my computer right now. I can't really show you that, but you can also use your iPad using the USB-C port, and it actually expands into an additional monitor, and there's more display settings that is available, and they've expanded on that a lot, especially if you need a secondary monitor for your iPad. It works perfectly with that. And also we looked at the preview. Trying to think of uh what else did I see that was quite interesting. So the windowing and all the things. So again, this is just my first week. Today's actually a week because I downloaded it Tuesday morning. So it's literally a week I'm working with iPadOS 26. There are some other features I really want to see with it, is that they give you the ability to control how transparent uh certain things are, especially with the menus. especially with the all like this area here. For some people, it might be too clear, especially if you use the clear option. What are some of the actual customizations that you could do with clear? If we can make it more frosted, if you want it more clear. So there's some key things that I am looking forward to seeing as they continue to develop this. Continuity has been working and I was a bit surprised. Let me just show you what that actually looks like. I have to let me see. All right, so for example, this was quite interesting. So somebody was calling me, and again, we getting these spam calls quite a lot. And I'm like, the screen the call screening is the best feature I think that they have integrated into the OS 26 across the board. So now, if you turn on your screen, and this is from your iPhone, so if you turn on the call screening, it's going to literally send a message for the person to actually leave their their information, and you can choose, you can actually see that conversation going on while the phone is ringing, and also you can choose if you want to ignore it or you can answer the call. Also, because of the continuity, I've noticed that when the phone rings is, and because I am using one Apple ID and for business. So all the devices that are under that one Apple ID, everything is ringing. As you know, they did include the phone app onto Mac OS and it's also on the iPad. So whether it's a regular call or a FaceTime call, it is actually going to be coming up on your iPad. So this is what the screen actually looked like when somebody was calling. You can choose to accept it or you can actually take calls on your iPad now. I'm happy for that. All right. So I was quite interested to see this come popping up. Oh, because I thought they only included it in Mac OS, but it's also available on your iPad as well. And I'm yet to test out the live translations and all the things. I have to get one of my friends to test out the live translation in a different language. And what also I noticed is while I was on FaceTime with the phone, I was able to have captions going. I was actually seeing the captions as the person was speaking. I was seeing the live captions running on the screen, and that was super cool to see. So there are little features that are included into iPad OS 26. As I come over more and more features, and as I come across different features, I'm definitely going to do even more walkthroughs and breakdowns. But again, I'm more excited for the AI, the on-device AI, as well as the automation and the shortcuts app. And I want to really push it to its limits to see what can we actually automate on our different devices. All right, so I'm gonna open the floor. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. Also, let me know in the chat what you think about iPad OS 26 so far. Would it convince you to get an iPad? Are you excited to see are you, for the final release? Let me know. And in the chat, I know there's usually a delay on the different platforms, but let me know if you're excited for iPad OS 26 and what are some of the things that you may want to see with your iPad OS, or what some of the functions that you may want to perform on your iPad that is not there as yet. Let me know in the chat. All right, I'm going to give it a few minutes. All right. Hello to my Substack community. Let me go over to Substack to see. Alrighty. Okay. All right. If Right. So if there is no more questions or you have no questions, that is okay. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in to Creative Flow Live. This was your first live look at iPad OS 26. Again, this is the beta version. I am super excited to see what the final release version will actually look like. I'm also interested to see how app developers will cater to this new UI. And I can remember I think it was on the same day after the main um WWDC press keynote presentation, I did look at platform State of the Union, and they were showing a lot of the tools and stuff that they actually have for app developers. I'm interested to see what app developers will actually um have. All right. So I have some comments coming in. I want to see POS pay by rent. Listen, okay. Oh, there's so many things. I'm seeing mix. I'm seeing mix reviews with regards to the OS of it, of the whole overall of the design. Some saying, "Oh, if you have been around in the tech space like me, I've seen many variations of different operating systems." And so I see a lot of people are saying that this is a bit similar to Windows Vista. If you know what Windows Vista is, it didn't really last long for Microsoft as an operating system, but people say it's a bit nostalgic going back to that glass look feel. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, you want to see iOS pay rent. Um, Test third party note app. So I do have a third party note app. I do use Good Notes as well as Notability, right? And I'm gonna answer the questions as they come in. So let me switch over so I can show you guys. And I hope that okay. So I do use I'm that person that loves the native apps. The Notes app is definitely um versatile. But for me, when I was starting out with digital planning, I was heavy in using GoodNotes. So I use GoodNotes as a third party note taking app. You have Notability, and there are a whole lot of different ones, but I like GoodNotes because this was like my first note taking app, and I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt to this UI. One of the other things too I've noticed with Safari, and I'm not sure if people caught on to this, that even when you are scrolling on certain sites, if you notice that the menu at the top here is also translucent. So I was like, oh, true Safari. So I'm interested to see if um Google Chrome app will do the same thing. Again, I want to see what these app developers would do and how they're going to actually play around to enhance the experience um of users, right? So I've my third party apps are working, of course, so that is a okay. Let me see. All right. So someone is asking, is it safe to download the public beta version? Now, I have some rules when it comes to beta and testing stuff out. Now, if you're a techie like me and you have the extra device, you can enroll into the beta program to test it out. I do not recommend, and I repeat, I do not recommend if you have one device, your main device, and you install the beta version, because the beta version is not the full version and it's still a bit clunky. It can cause your device to not function at its optimal level. So, if when the a lot of people download the public beta version just to see how it looks and how it feels, they give feedback if things are a bit clunky, glitchy with certain apps, they do provide feedback. And so I would advise, yes, it's safe on the other hand, but it comes with a warning. I would prefer, or I would recommend, you have a separate device that is not your main device to test the beta versions. I hope that answers your question. All right. Does anyone else have any questions before I end the stream as it relates to all things Apple or uh, iPad OS? Let me know. Also, next week, God Spare Life, I will be doing Mac OS. So you're gonna see a preview of what Mac OS 26 Tahoe actually looks like. And then the following week, hopefully I will do iOS 26. All right. Depends on how the weeks and the days go. All right. But thank you so much for tuning in to the live session. If you have no more questions, if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts so far, and drop your questions in the comments, and I will definitely get into answering those questions. Thank you so much for tuning in to Creative Flow Live. If you've not subscribed to my weekly newsletter, go ahead and join the community. I do a little more where I do give my tech of my 20 years of tech experience into and I share more, though I do these deep dives and all the things. I give a little more from a professional standpoint on safe practices when it comes to technology, not only for improving your productivity, but as creatives and as entrepreneurs, how we can actually make technology work for you. All right, so somebody said iPad OS is a huge upgrade unlike iOS. So again, it depends on usability when it comes to devices. Yes. Uh I think a lot, and I've seen a lot of users say that this new OS, it caters more to Mac as well as the iPad, and it, to me, it like put the iPad up a little more in terms of having that actual device. Some people are a bit 50-50, or they're not too happy with the iOS. But again, this is just first release. And one of the things that I have recognized over the years and testing different solutions, early adopters adapt. End users, this was like the everyday user. If it's a new upgrade, they're either not gonna like it, but they will use it. So it's a push and pull when it comes to any major upgrade of an operating system. You're gonna have a subset of people who will like it, and then you will have another subset of people who may not like it. So um with the iOS, for now, since I've been using all of them for a week, I haven't seen, I think the haptic is the most interesting thing because I've never turned on haptic when I'm typing. So that was interesting. So a lot of different things with the keyboards, the feel of the phone. It feels like a new phone because of the fresh paint or the fresh engine that is in the phone or something. So it just makes the phone feel a bit new. In that sense, I'm like, I'm literally learning the Apple ecosystem all over again. So that is my take on iOS, and I'm going to delve deeper into it when we do cover that in our live stream. But yes, iPad OS and with the liquid glass UI update, they go hand in hand, coupled with the AI. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead, subscribe, share, and like, and all the things. Thank you so much. And I will see you back in the next session. And as always, stay productive. And remember, your technology should be working for you and not the other way around. Have a good night, everyone.